It's no secret to anyone that Pixar has produced and continues to produce masterpiece after masterpiece, with each film having its special flavor that wins over the world year after year. But even renowned studios have bizarre mistakes and careless moments, subtle things that go unnoticed, but not here on Cine Lovers. And it's these errors that you've never seen before that I'm going to show you now. To kick off our list of mistakes, why not start with Inside Out, one of Pixar's most beloved films of recent years. The mistake happens in the scene where we see Riley playing in the living room, and near her, there's a cable plugged into an outlet. But when the scene changes, the cable, which was white, suddenly turns black. I guess the animator's shift ended, and the person who took over decided to change the color. In the kitchen of Ratatouille, Pixar's magic also goes a little too far, inexplicably altering a few things. In Ratatouille, during the scene where Remy enters the kitchen to try to save the soup Linguini ruined, we see that the pot is dirty and the broth inside is dark in color. However, in the next moment, the pot is sparkling clean, and the soup has a completely different color and appearance. The film says that anyone can cook, but I guess not everyone can pull off this kind of magic. Another piece of evidence that Pixar's rats have superpowers is in the scene at the beginning of the movie when the woman in the house they've taken over spots them and grabs a shotgun to exterminate them. When she picks up the gun, the umbrella stand falls to the side, but mysteriously, it appears standing upright in the next scene, even though it was far from where it originally was. Jumping into the monster world, in Monsters Incorporated, there's a scene where Mike is walking down the street, saying that Sully has been jealous of him since the 4th grade.
You've been jealous of my good looks since the 4th grade, pal.
Up to this point, it's all fine. We think, okay, they've been classmates since they were kids. But Monsters University completely contradicts this statement by showing us that in fact, they only met in college. That's right. Sometimes even Pixar lets script errors slip through. Another curious mistake in Monsters Incorporated happens in the scene where we see the scoreboard displaying the monsters' scare points. There, we see that Sully and Randall were competing for first place. However, while all the other monsters had their last names displayed, Randall was the only one listed by his first name. And another fun fact that I bet you didn't know is that most of the names on the board belong to animators who worked on the movie. They couldn't resist referencing themselves. Still on the scare floor, when Randall gets mad about losing his spot on the ranking to Sully, he storms off determined to scare his assigned child. But when he opens the door, notice that the doorknob is on the left side. However, when he comes back and closes the doorknob magically switches to the right side. Now moving on to Cars 1, there's a mistake in the scene where Chick Hicks causes the crash involving the King Strip Weathers. To me, the scene where McQueen slams on his brakes at the finish line and goes back to push the King to the end of the race is the most emotional moment of the movie, one of Pixar's most touching scenes, and I always get emotional watching it. But here's where the mistake comes in. The King's eyes are light brown, almost hazel, but in the crash scene, his eyes turn blue. Either the King decided to wear colored contacts between scenes, or it's just a mistake. Another mistake in Cars 1 happens during the first race when McQueen blows out both his rear tires. Yet when he's being helped by the pit crew, one of the mechanics removes a perfectly intact tire from McQueen, even though we had just seen that only the rims were left. And the most amazing thing about all this is that, despite so many mistakes in a single film, the story and animation are so mesmerizing that these slip-ups don't affect the experience at all. Speaking of things that don't ruin your experience, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel while watching the video. Every day, I bring you videos about your favorite movies, so come on and join the family. If you're on TV, just scroll down and like. In Finding Nemo, when Marlin and Dory are inside the whale, this happens here. Did you catch the mistake? They're holding onto the whale's uvula and stay there for a while, but the truth is, whales don't have uvulas. We do. Now, in A Bug's Life, which was Pixar's second film, we have a scene that doesn't contain an animation mistake, but rather a biological one, let's say. In the bar scene, where a male mosquito asks for a drop of blood to drink, there would be nothing wrong with it if not for the fact that only female mosquitoes drink blood, while males stay far away from it. I guess the screenwriter wasn't much into biology back in school. In Toy Story 2, when Buzz performs a maneuver on a racetrack, his body simply passes through the track. Maybe when Woody said Buzz was just a toy, he underestimated him. After all, the guy can make his body intangible. In Toy Story 3, throughout the movie, you can see Andy's name written on the bottom of Jesse's boot. However, in one scene, the writing starts from the inside and ends at the toe. And in another scene, it starts at the toe and ends inside, basically reversed. The movie Up also makes it onto this list. In the scene where we see the door of Mr. Fredrickson's house, when the house is still on the ground and not floating in the sky, we notice that the door has 4 locks. Yet in the next scene, it only has 3. But with so many locks, I guess losing one wouldn't make much of a difference, right? In addition to door mistakes, Up also has some mailbox inconsistencies. Initially, you can see that Mr. Fredrickson's mailbox is positioned in front of the first wooden post of his gate. But in later scenes, it appears in front of the second wooden post. At least it stayed around and didn't mysteriously vanish like the 4th door lock, right? Now, be honest, have you ever noticed any of these mistakes with your own eyes? Comment below, because I want to see your response. And now it's your turn to pick another video about Pixar's universe to watch. Click it, and thank you so much for making it to the end of the video. I'll see you in the next Cine Lovers.